Morning. Hope we're all well today. We're with you in a second. Just get the other part of the community on board. Morning, folks. Yep, that ain't it. The other part of the community on board. That's the right one. Yep, that ain't it. Houston, we have a problem. Bloody phone's frozen. That's better. Hey, me and technology, what's it like? We're having some problems this morning, folks. We're with you as soon as I can. Nah, still no coming up. Try that another way. Anyway, folks, good morning. How are we today? Reagan Elite is in the audience and he's got a petition that he would like you all to participate in to stop Marks and Sparks, I think it was, from advertising with GB News. So, young Reagan Elite, if you can stick that into the comments and also remind me of the subject you'd like me to speak about today. Because it was a busy night last night. And although I was listening to the show, sometimes the machinery we seem to be having a problem with Facebook this morning. It is supposed to be linked in, but it doesn't seem to be for some reason. No, it's not coming up. Houston, we have a problem. Oh well, we just need to soldier on without Facebook. We need to see if it comes up after the video. So, good morning. Hey. To say, Reagan Elite's got a petition he'd like us all to participate in. Hopefully we'll drop the link into the comments. I think I've just seen a link to Reagan's channel there. Now, as you can see, I'm out the truck. I'm in my office, as always these days, in Southern North Lanarkshire, where it is overcast. Looks as if the clouds thinning, and it's 6 degrees. So no bad, dry. What more can you ask for this time of year? Okay, right, we'll go on with this in a wee second. Normal service with Dave and I should resume on Thursday. And maybe invite him on, or maybe invite others on to do a snap news review with me. Could get interesting. Right, can't get Facebook on board at all this morning for some reason. So, Murdoch's Rag, The Sun, and it reads on a crime story. Kenya trip horror. Scot abducted, murdered and stuffed in sack. Herder finds his body. This is the story of a 58-year-old Scottish businessman named Campbell Scott, who was in business on an arranged business trip in Kenya, Nairobi, and apparently he was abducted and murdered. Apparently a waiter and a taxi driver that serviced the hotel that he was in have been arrested. So I wonder what happened there. I didn't delve in much deeper. Haven't found no motive was stated in the part I was reading. So sad story. The Times has. I'll put it up. It's a bit telegraphed, isn't it? Yeah, the Times. Here we go. Giants of arts unite against theft by big tech companies. And this is creative artists. Because what's happening is AI is stealing their voices, and they apparently they're no chuffed because their voices, their mannerisms are all being used to generate AI content, and they're not pleased at all. The other thing is they're not getting paid for the work. The main headline: Trump invites Zelensky to secure peace in weeks. Might invite him to talk to Vladimir Putin. That might bloody well work. And apparently, Trump says that European peacekeepers will be welcome in Ukraine. But as David says, the other day when we were doing the Two Davies show, the thing about peacekeepers is the peacekeepers are no there to keep the bad guys out. They're there to keep the good guys in. Because inevitably, in this peace deal, Putin's going to be handed a huge chunk of Ukraine. I'm breaking up this morning, George, and I've lost the sound. Volume's cutting in now. Hold on, folks. I'll try to refresh the feed, folks. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Can you all hear me? Somebody put a thumbs up in the comments if you can hear me okay. It's no problem in my end, DJ Marcimus. Thank you. Right, where were we? The Times. Trump. Is Trump actually talking to Putin? Or is he just rambling? Is it all a figment of his absolutely fried and addled old heat? I'm not quite sure. Right, next up we have the Telegraph, and we'll see what that's going to say this morning. France nuclear shield for Europe. Now, what's interesting about that is when it comes to the major nuclear powers in the world, France ranks about number 5 behind Russia, who have got the most nuclear weapons at 5,500. Then comes the Americans at 5,024. It's speculated how many the Chinese have got, and it's supposed to be about 4,000. North Korea, it's speculation again, a couple of thousand. And France next in line with about 900, I think it was. I haven't looked for a while, but that's roughly the ballpark we're talking about. And the idea is that France will take up where Trump's no bother with Europe anywhere. So that's interesting. And there's a bit of Stussy going on about this BBC documentary. And apparently there's a complaint that the Gaza film glorified the October 7th massacre. I haven't seen it. I don't know whether it's true or no. And the idiot Kimmy Badenoch, who's trying to outring right wing, who's trying to move the Conservative Party further to the right than Farage. She wants to leave the Economic Convention on Human Rights, or a European Court on Human Rights, Economic Convention. That's my heat this morning. Wow. Right, let's move on. Next up with the eye. And apparently it says that the UK has to stop blaming Putin. See, my head's all over the place this morning. Stop blaming Putin for the war. And apparently Russia is now ready to accept peacekeepers, says Trump. I wonder what Putin's going to say. Putin seems to be awfully quiet. Seems to be Trump making all the noise. The Herald has. This is an interesting one, this one. The interesting thing about this one is the picture. I'll blow it up in a minute once I get it up. The picture in this article. I'll scroll it down, show you the headline. Law may have been broken on facilities for trans doctors, says Herald. Health Board made no impact assessment ahead of changing room decision. Now, what's interesting about it is we've got a picture of the Health Secretary there. Now, on scanning the article, I'm saying, okay, the Health Board is mentioned as the employer here. What's Neil going to say with it? What's Neil going to do with it? And unfortunately, I've only got the front page here. I haven't got page 2. So I really couldn't tell you why the Health Minister's picture's there. Because it's a Health Board issue. It's an employment rights issue. But was it necessary to carry out an impact assessment? I don't know. I don't know at all. I really don't. When it comes to equality, diversity, and inclusivity, I don't know what the law is in workplaces. That's what human resources do. It's not what I do. So I don't know whether the Health Board needed to carry out an impact assessment for this trans doctor to be given permission to use apparently the women's changing rooms. Surely there wouldn't have been that many trans doctors in a hospital or trans staff in a hospital. Surely we could have a wee room for females transitioning to male and males transitioning to females. It wouldn't need to be big locker rooms. Surely we could find facilities in these massive hospitals for that. Or even partition off the two existing facilities and that would give you the extra facilities needed, but I'm not sure whether an impact assessment is a legal requirement. Right, let's move on. Next up, we have a Scotsman. I'll put it up. You notice I'm not putting that many up today, folks. Because really, the front pages are boring. Now, the picture on the front of the Scotsman here is yesterday was the anniversary of the start of the Ukraine war, and it was a memorial to remember the 3-year anniversary of the ongoing conflict. So, but the main story in the Scotsman is demand for night courts to clear criminal justice backlog. And I thought that's interesting. Let's have a wee read into it. So apparently the chief of the Police Federation in Scotland, a guy named David Kennedy, he wants the courts to operate on a 24/7 cycle the way that the police do. The main problem I see with that is, and by the way, it's not just for the backlog, as it says here in the headline. He wants the courts to be operating on a 24/7 mode of operandi, I suppose. But as I say, the big problem I see with that is, do we have enough people working within the legal profession to make that possible? I mean, we need to find lots and lots and lots more justices of the peace to sit in the lower court here in Scotland, the district court. And then we were enough judges to sit in both the sheriff and the high courts to deal with the backlog if they were going to open them 24/7. I don't think so. Right. Now, Let's move on. The right wing loony rag, the Express, has got all sensible owners today. Again, it's been happening regularly lately, which is quite a worry. When the right wing loony press starts sounding reasonable to you, it might be time to give your head a wobble, Davy. But here we go. The Express has Reeves urged to stop state pensions from being taxed. Now, the triple lock, the high inflation that we had, and it's on its way back up again, and the fiscal drag means that after April this year, millions of pensioners will be getting paid a pension which is just above the rate where you start paying income tax in the UK. Now that is £12,570, and apparently the state pension, the upper state pension, is going to take them to £12,580 or something like £83, and they're going to be due a tax bill of £1.50 or 50 pence in some cases. Nuts. But they reckon by 2027 there'll be millions of pensioners paying at least £1 after state pension to the taxman each year because of the fiscal drag. And the Labour Party and Rachel Reeves are talking about extending the lock on moving the base rate at which you enter income tax beyond 2029. Because obviously the fiscal drag drags in an awful lot of money for the Treasury, as each pay rise takes you up a tax band or two, depending on how big the rise is. So apparently the state pension is getting to the point, lowly as it is, where they'll be expected to pay income tax on the state pension. Mental. But say quite sensible for the Express. Right, next up we have a national. We'll put it up because we always do, but I have to say it's quite boring today, folks. In fact, all the headlines are quite dull today. Community ownership is how we avoid Macron 2.0. Which, although the front page is pretty dull and boring, it's not a bad idea. If we have the wind generated by the communities and owned by the communities, Westminster will be able to siphon it off. They'll need to pay the communities for what they take. So, yep, community ownership of the turbines, of the wind farms, might be a bloody good idea. They say it's a pretty boring front page. But what can you say? And apparently Reform UK want to put jobs at risk. I don't know why anybody gives these people airtime. They're just loon balls, absolute loon balls. Anyway, we'll take that down. The Record is a warning to youth knife gangs. You could be next victim. And I thought, youth knife gangs? I thought we sorted that out in 2005 with the introduction of the initiative in Glasgow, the Glasgow initiative, which treated knife crime as a health issue. I thought we'd eliminated that, but no, I've had a wee look. Apparently it's back, and it's being driven by social media and fear being generated on social media. So kids are carrying knives again. And because of the time we live in, they're showing them off on social media. Thank you, Alistair. They are showing off on social media. I'm coming to get you, showing their knives off and things like that. But apparently it is coming back. But when I went into the figures for knife crimes in the UK, Northern Ireland and Wales have recorded knife crime incidents at roughly 54.8 for 54.8 people per 10,000 people. So for every 10,000 people, 54.8 of been a subject or would have been involved in knife crime of one sort or the other. The figures for England and Wales is interesting. That's at 84.9 per 10,000 people, which is a fair bit higher. Still low in the grand scheme of things on the measurements that they were using, but a fair bit higher. And they really need some initiatives down that road. But we really need to clamp down on this, folks. Although crime here is still at a 40 odd year low, and it really is low, crime here in Scotland, we have to be able to reassure the young people there is nothing to be frightened of out there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to be frightened of. Most people live in quite secure communities. And when I mean secure communities, I don't mean like these bloody locked in places that they have in South Africa and America and things like that. Gated communities. I don't mean that. I mean secure communities. Crime's low in our communities, whether it be in cities or rural areas. Violent crime's also quite low. And when there is violent crime, it's normally alcohol related or the usual crimes of passion, that sort of thing. We need to be able to reassure our young people that what's frightening them on the internet isn't real. It isn't reflective of their community. So if kids are running about in knife gangs, and apparently it's a thing in Edinburgh and Dundee, you need to make sure that they know that there's no need for that. If you're going to have a bit of fisticuffing's the way to do it. Nobody dies, or very few, or less people die. Can't I say it's no happened where somebody's been whacked a punch from it down and conked their head and that game over, but it's less likely. A black eye and a bruise here and there is much better than a hole in you. But as I say, we have to convince the young people, if this is actually happening, that our communities are safe places and there's no need for it. None. Right. The Daily Fail, it's on a crime story as well. And it's the story of a 19-year-old who killed family and was arrested on his way to carry out a mass shooting at one of his previous schools. Now, Nicholas Prosper, 19, killed his mother, his brother who was 16, his sister who was 13, and was arrested en route to his old primary school in Luton, England. On arrest, he had a shotgun, 30 shells, and a kitchen knife, and apparently he was going to carry out a mass school shooting. If he was looking for notoriety, that's how they got it here in the UK, because we don't have such things as mass shootings at schools. So, I'm glad he was thwarted, but 19-year-old kills his mum, his brother and sister. Must be one messed up kid. Wow. Alistair, this one's going to please you today, mate. This one's going to please you today. Made me smile and all. Really made me smile. So, folks, we're at the end of the paper review, and as you know, at the end of each paper review comes the star. And today we have an absolute classic star headline. Brilliant stuff. And it's a really colourful front page, unlike the bloody rest of them today. So shall we have a wee look and see? Thank you, Alexander. Thank you very much. Will we have a wee look and see what the stars got for us? Shall we? Oh, and while we're on the food bank funds, folk, I checked yesterday. David said notification that money's on its way to us from Google Pay. It just hasn't hit yet. So once it's in, I'll start getting it out to the food banks in Stirling and Clackmannanshire. Okay. Now, here we go. What's the star got for us today? Alistair, this one's for you, mate. I know how you like a boffin. Hey, Boffin warns we'll need lots of luck and plenty of nuclear warheads to stop pesky asteroid destroying Earth. We're gonna need a bigger nuke. Only one boffin, of course. You know, the rest of the boffins are keeping their gum shut. They don't think this one boffin's right. The majority of boffins think it's going to go past us. But this boffin, according to the star, thinks it's going to hit us. Ah, well. I guess the end of humanity is nigh right enough, eh? Okay. Well, that's it for the day, folks. Sorry it wasn't so exciting, wasn't so fluent. I don't know where it was this morning. I just seemed to be a wee bit off. It was the same and all when we were when I was looking into some of these stories today. I just couldn't get my head wrapped around some things. Guess you just get more like that. Anyway, a bigger nuke, eh? That's the answer to everything. Get a bigger fucking club to hit it out of the heat with. That's the reason why we haven't really evolved as a species. We're still at the point where we think battering each other is the solution to our problems. You know, just get a bigger hammer to crack that nail on the head. It doesn't always work. It's not a bad idea right now to send Musk up there. Hey, but the same. We've got wars raging right around the place. And man's answer to problems is still hit it hard. Hit it hard with a hammer. I dare say we'll evolve someday. I won't be around, of course, because as we know, we live in this world, we live on this planet. They're all still whacking each other in the head with a hammer. Yeah. Except the hammer's evolved into something a wee bit nastier. Well, it is. Let's hope tomorrow's headlines are a wee bit cheerier, huh? Maybe Rachel Reeves will get another spanking as more problems coming down the road. On that thing about Trump hinting when he was talking to Macron yesterday that the UK wouldn't be avoiding tariffs, that must have hit Rachel for accounts and tizzy, yeah? An absolute tizzy. Because my fuck, we are rapidly running into a recession. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I was wondering, him and I were wondering, why they doing it? The UK was the first of the developed Western nations to impose sanctions on itself and on its economy. And now we see Trump doing the same thing in America. And I don't know about you guys, but it makes me think, why? Why are they doing it? Why are they deliberately hurting their own economic outlook and their own people? I really don't know, folks. But if you think you've got the answer, hit me up. I can see a pattern. I can see, for some reason, the UK and the US have set out to destroy themselves. I just don't get why. Anyway, I'll end it there. For some reason, I'm feeling a bit gloomy now. I'm going to get a cup of coffee and see if I can cheer myself up. You guys have a nice day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye for now.